Hello. I just recently started looking into the case of Emily Noble and her husband, Matheau Moore, who stood trial for her murder. I had talked to Matt a while ago and did a short little thing about it on Murders in Ohio podcast. And here it is right now. That way you can get a little bit of what the case is about. Make sure you subscribe to Murders Ohio right here on YouTube to follow along with the case.
I had recently received an email by a man whose name is Matheau Moore. In the email, Matt explained that he was the husband of Emily Noble. They were out of Delaware County, Ohio. Matt also said that he was acquitted for the murder of his wife, Emily. Matt wanted to talk to me and inform my listeners about Delaware County law enforcement and the county prosecutor. I did agree to do a phone interview with Matt. In this episode, I want to take a quick look at why Matheau Moore was arrested for the murder of his wife, Emily Noble. It is said that this happened in Delaware County, Ohio, which is the county just north of Columbus. It happened in the town of Westerville. Westerville is split up between Franklin County and Delaware County. Emily Noble, who at that time was 52 years old, would go missing from her home in May of 2020. Emily would be found 4 months later, not far from her home, on September 16, 2020. Emily was found in a wooded area hanging from a tree with a USB cord wrapped around her neck. An autopsy was done in Montgomery County. They found that Emily had face and neck bone fractures. They said that these injuries were consistent with a manual strangulation, not suicide, meaning someone had wrapped their hands around Emily's neck to take her life. Westerville police filed charges against Emily's husband, Matheau Moore. However, they had no eyewitnesses and no real evidence. Law enforcement claimed that Matt murdered his wife and then tried to make it look like a suicide. It is said that Emily did not have her cell phone with her, and she was found in an area where she had occasionally went to hike looking for fresh herbs to eat. Matt would be charged with 2 counts of murder and would have an 8-day trial in Delaware County. After this 8-day trial, a jury would find Matheau Moore not guilty of the murder of Emily Noble. Matt then would write a book called Emily, a Staged Suicide in Ohio, which can be found on Kindle Books. Now, needless to say, I want to know more. Why would Westville police believe that Matt murdered Emily and then try to make it look like a suicide? I am sure things like this has happened before, but why did they believe that Matt murdered his wife? They did have the injuries that Emily had suffered, the neck and face bone injuries. But why Matt? There was no real physical evidence. There was people that testified that Emily was not suicidal, even though Matt says that she had thought about taking her own life before. Then there's the autopsy report that says Emily's injuries are not consistent with a hanging or a suicide. Matt's defense lawyer brought in experts to say that Emily's injuries could have come from a hanging caused by suicide. People also said that Matt refused to help out when they asked him to help look for Emily. Matt did try to call Emily's cell phone, but Emily's phone was in the living room of their home. Why would Emily leave her home with nothing but a USB cord to kill herself in the woods not far from her home? People have mixed feelings about this case. Did Emily commit suicide? Or was Emily murdered by someone? It comes down to whether you believe the prosecutor, which their evidence says that Emily's injuries did not come from the act of suicide, or if you believe the defense team and that the injuries could be caused by a person who committed suicide. The Westerville police did not look at any other person of interest. They stayed focused on Matt Moore. Matt's defense team only had to prove that there was a chance that Matt did not kill his wife Emily. Delaware County had to prove that Matt, without any doubt at all, did murder his wife. The trial started on August 15th of 2020. The jury only took about 3 hours to come back with a not guilty verdict. So what did happen to 52-year-old Emily Noble? There could be a murderer running free in Ohio or somewhere in the United States. I did not know any of this before I talked with Matheau Moore. I had never heard of his trial, and I wanted to keep it that way. I wanted to be able to keep an open mind when I talked to Matt. The autopsy report is the reason I don't believe that Emily's death was a suicide.
Thank you for watching the video. If you're interested in the case and want to see updates in the future, make sure you subscribe to Murderers in Ohio right here on YouTube. And I will be putting this on a multimedia platform, which meaning that it will be right here on YouTube and it will be in podcast form, and I will let you know about that later. Thank you for watching again.